What I want to start with, everyone's calling me the woo-woo guru and the mindset guy, so we're going to start with closing our eyes and doing a little visualization, okay? So I want you guys to start by just getting comfortable, taking a big deep breath in and let it go. There's a lot going on in here. It can be a little bit, the nervous system gets fired up. Let's take another breath in and let it go. And I'll let you close your eyes when you're ready. I'm not going to do anything, don't worry. I'll stay up here. Another breath in, fill your belly with air, and let it go. And I want you to visualize, set the scene for 90 days from now. It's August 1st, 90 days from today, and you have accomplished everything that you set out to do when that weird Canadian guy stood up front and did a visualization with you. I want you to think about, where are you? Who are you with? And what's happening? And importantly, most importantly, what is that accomplishment? It's probably just going to pop in. What is that thing that in 90 days you're going to be damn proud to come tell us that you did? Just going to give you a bit of time to think on that. Let that settle. And in this visualization, how do you know tangibly that you accomplished this? Are you looking at your bank account? Are you looking at your Stripe account and all the payments that came in? Are you maybe in a new home with your family? Maybe you're traveling. Maybe you're sitting in a first-class seat. Or maybe it's just a Tuesday afternoon and you're hanging out with your kids because you don't have to work. What is it that helps you see that you have accomplished that goal? And now that you're starting to get into this scene, we know what you see. What do you hear? Is there anything that you smell or taste? Maybe a little champagne on your lips. A non-alcoholic champagne. For those of you. Most importantly, what are you feeling? What emotions are you feeling right now? And what does that feel like physically for you? I know when I do something like this, my chest, I just get this excitement in my chest. It's like energy just flying around in my chest. Maybe there's some butterflies in your stomach. What are you feeling? I want to give you 30 seconds to just sit in that feeling. Let yourself feel it. And if that version of you, from 90 days from now, from August 1st, who has undoubtedly accomplished this incredible feat, if they could give you one piece of advice today, what would they tell you? What do you need to hear right now from your future self? There's no right or wrong answer here. You can't do this wrong. Once you've got that, I want you to take a belly breath in. Hold it at the top. Let it go. You can start wiggling your fingers and toes. Take another belly breath in. Let it go. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I see a few people are feeling some things. That's good. That's good. I want you to feel. Okay? What I want you to do, write down what came up for you. What came up for you in terms of what you accomplished. What came up for you in terms of where you were and who you were with. What came up in terms of what the future version of you had to say. Because damn, that future version of you is smart. They got something figured out. I can just feel the vibes in this room. There's some things happening. Now, if you want to work along with this, now we are doing a bit of a rough draft right now, but you can go to page 7 in your booklet here, and we're going to talk about it. But what's cool, I want you to just take you through what just happened. So according to your subconscious brain, you already accomplished that goal right now. You already accomplished it. If you guys have ever heard Michael Jordan talk about some of the shots to win championships, he said, I took those shots 1,000 times in my head. That's exactly what we're doing. So you visualizing success gives you a much better chance to attract that to you. Okay? Now, you might be thinking, okay, I get it in theory, but what are we going to do with that? And I think a lot of people are seeing a lot of, mindset gurus and manifestors talking about that you just got to sit there with your eyes closed and think about things and you're going to get what you want. And that's where I come in, which is where I connect the mindset and the woo-woo stuff to tangible, actionable things that you can do. And that's what we're going to do today, because one of my favorite books is called Ask and It Is Given. It's a pretty woo-woo book from Esther and Jerry Hicks. And I think that that's misleading because, yes, ask and it is given. That's exactly what we're doing. But you must act for it to be received. Act and it is received. So we're going to figure out what are the actions to take so that you can receive what you have just asked for. Now, this is Craig and Big Frank. I don't think Frank's here today, so I don't have the exact numbers. A lot of you guys have heard this story as to why we can't even share Frank's testimonial on our social media because it's so ridiculous. So 2019, I believe it was, Frank went to a one-day event with Craig, and he was making about 15 to 20K a month. Okay, and he was working 12 to 14-hour days. I don't know if he had his daughter yet, but he couldn't spend time with his family. He couldn't travel. He was basically in the golden handcuffs. He did a 90-day plan with Craig, so the story goes. Set a very lofty goal, a very specific goal of what he wanted to do. And in 90 days, talked to Craig and said he was over 100K a month in revenue and working half the time in 90 days. And I saw him, the first time that I met him, I just had to ask him, like, how did you do this? And he's in only the way Frank can say, he said, I took the sheet of paper, which you guys have right here in front of you, I put it up beside my computer and I looked at it every single day and I just took the next action on the sheet. Because him and Craig had spent so much time making sure those actions were the right actions for him to take, and he just sat there and took the action and took the action and took the action. And in 90 days, there he was. So I've learned all of this from Craig. And my job, as Daniel was saying, is to breathe life into this 90-day planning. Because we all talk about setting goals. We all talk about doing 90-day planning. But I want to breathe life into it. I want to make it exciting for you guys so that you're going to be willing to take those actions and make it happen. And this is how we can guarantee success, when we actually enjoy what we're doing. So let's take a look back. So you've got it in here, not the first question, but you've got it in here on page 7. And I want you to think about, some of you guys have done this with me, but if you think about it again, some things might come up for you. So where were you on January 1st, 2024? What did your business look like? What did your life look like? What were you thinking about? What were you struggling with? What were you excited about? What were you working on? Where were you? And since then, what is the thing that you're most proud of? What has been your biggest accomplishment? Now, I have in the last quarter, you can say in 2024. What is the thing that you're most proud of accomplishing? This is going to be a workshop style thing, okay? So I hope you guys are ready to write or type. And sometimes these things go together. The biggest accomplishment goes together with it, but what's the biggest lesson you've learned? What's the biggest lesson you've learned from the last 4 months of feedback in 2024? Because 4 months ago, we didn't have the experience that we have now. So why don't we use that? Anybody up for sharing their biggest accomplishment? Get the vibes high. Alex.
How you doing? I always struggled in terms of reducing my working hours, and I at a point when my wife was saying like I can't keep doing this on my own kind of stuff, so I pulled my working hours back from 8 p.m. to finishing at 6 last September, and the company is growing, and so is my relationship.
I love that. So if you didn't hear Alex, he said his wife basically said to him, I can't keep doing this on my own because he was working so much. He cut 2 hours a day essentially from his working hours. His business has grown and his relationship has grown. That's a hell of an accomplishment, man. Congratulations on that. It's amazing. Anybody else? Nolan, and then we'll come to Adam.
Yeah, I mean, January at the mastermind was life-changing. Didn't have a YouTube consulting business at that point in time, and I maybe spent, this is probably being generous, 2 hours a week on it, done $30K in the first quarter off of it without even trying. So
Yeah, you just came in and were like, I just want to share some YouTube stuff, and now you got a new business. It's pretty incredible, man. That's awesome. Adam.
So I left Google. My last day was 15th of December. I started on the 18th of December at my new job startup. That last 2 weeks of the year wasn't a lot going on, so January 1st was really kind of what I consider to be my first day of work at the new job. And in the first quarter, I accomplished probably 80% of my annual KPIs.
80% of his annual KPIs in the first quarter.
In the first quarter.
Just for everybody to hear.
Revamped everything into a consolidated program as opposed to a bunch of disparate projects that weren't really managed the same way. Made a couple of really key hires, and I won't say I've been able to cut back on the work, but I've been able to cut back on the work that I don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still very busy, but I'm able to zoom out of the tactical things and be more strategic.
Do the bigger picture stuff. So consolidated a lot of things and able to do the big picture stuff. Amazing. So we've got some accomplishments, and I ask people to share those because not so that you guys get frustrated because your accomplishments aren't as big, but so that you guys can get inspired and we can just raise the whole vibration of the room here where it's like, hey, we got some wins happening. Does anybody have a lesson that they want to share that is likely a lesson for other people as well? Shannon.
Listen to your gut sooner.
Listen to your gut sooner. Anybody else need to hear that? I certainly did. Awesome. Christy, and then we'll go to Cole.
Delegate everything and only do what is absolutely only yours to do.
Delegate everything and do what is only yours to do. Anybody else learn that one or need to hear that one? Cole.
I limit myself, no one else.
I limit myself. That's 3 powerful words. I limit myself, and the same, thinking too small. We've talked about it. We talked about it this morning, and you shared that with Craig. Anyone else feel like they might be limiting themselves? Okay, we're going to make sure that doesn't happen today. Thank you for sharing those. And I want you guys to think about, in one word or phrase, how do you feel about it today? How do you feel about your business today? If you could bring it all down to one word or phrase, how would you feel about it? You don't have to share that. It's okay. Do appreciate the sharing. Okay, so you likely had something come up in the visualization around what you want to accomplish in the next 90 days. And if you flip to page 9 and 10, I believe it's 9 and 10, there's going to be, page 8 is going to be an example of a business goal. Page 9 and 10 are where we really work through a professional goal and a personal goal. Okay, we're going to focus for the example on the professional goal, but I want you guys to come out with a personal goal as well. So your 90-day goal, a lot of people make mistakes on this because it's scary. This should be something that is outcome-based, which means you don't have full control over it. So if you think about a money goal, right, you could be $100 away and the last person on the last sales call on the last day just says, I got to talk to my spouse. Then you talk to Joe and then everything gets sorted out. Okay? But you could miss it by a little bit, and that's outside of your control, especially like if you did everything else right, it's somewhat outside of your control. So we want to make sure that this goal is somewhat outside of your control, and we need to go very specific with it. So this is the number one mistake I see people making, is they're not incredibly specific. And you can see on the example sheet, we actually added, 100K in gross revenue as the example goal, right? Because the test that I always use is if you and I were to go for coffee on August 1st, and I asked you, did you accomplish your 90-day goal? The only two answers should be yes or no. No gray area. Which means if you want 100K in net income in your pocket after expenses, write that down. Don't just say I want 100K. I want 100K in net income after paying my expenses and my team by August 1st, 2024. Because then I can say, did you do it? And you can say yes, or you can say no. Ideally, you'll say yes. But that is outside of your control. Okay, does that make sense? Does anyone have questions specifically on the outcome goal? I'm going to go through a few other common mistakes. So the next, you'll see on page 7, if you go back, we kind of go between 9 and 7, is that there's a question that says, why? Why does this matter enough to commit a quarter of the year to focusing on it? A quarter of the year. We know that time is incredibly valuable. Why are you willing to commit a quarter of the year? And this is what I call secondhand goal setting if you don't ask why. I was the king of secondhand goal setting. I was in a Facebook group or a mastermind group. I was like looking over people's shoulders like, oh, that looks like a pretty good goal. I think I'll take it. But as Daniel said about the swearing goal, it didn't have enough juice. And we can see without a clear why, the what gets a lot more difficult. Because when it's a Tuesday at the end of June and it's raining and you don't want to get up and do the most important task that you set out to do for your 90-day goal, it's the why that's going to pull you through, not the what. So why does this matter to you? And only you can know this, but if that why doesn't get you juiced up, then you should probably go back and look at a different goal. Consider a different goal. Because you should be fired up when you think about that why, and maybe even a little scared. So what do you want in 90 days and why? Because we don't want to set secondhand goals. Another common mistake is a lot of you might say, well, I've got 5 or 6 different things that I want to do. Okay? I understand you guys are high performers. You want to win at everything. Okay? But if you chase 2 rabbits, you will catch neither one. You will not catch either one. So I encourage you, if you've got a bunch, go deeper. Ask more questions. What do all those have in common? Likely they have something bigger in common. Likely they're all driving towards something bigger. Okay, and likely some of those goals that you have are probably like the milestones or the process-based goals that are more within your control, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Okay, one other mistake, and this was really hammered home for me at Charlie's event in Dubai in February. So Charlie, it's funny, it's the second time she's being mentioned. Galal mentioned her as well. Aaliyah, it's Aaliyah, right? That's how. So Aaliyah is a client of Charlie's. She's 24 years old, and Charlie presented her with a 100K per month plaque because she made $134,000 in 1 month. And just this past month, she made what, 156? Yeah. 156,000. And he put her on the spot and he said, here's the mic. What do you have to say to this group of like 100 other fitness professionals? And she had no prep. And she said, it costs you nothing to dream bigger. I thought that was so profound. It's so simple, but profound. It costs you nothing to dream bigger. So my question for you is that number or that thing you wrote down, what's stopping you from doing twice that or 5 times that? Like actually, what's stopping you? Is it an actual thing or is it a thought? Or is it a story that's in your head or a belief that's in your head? And I encourage you to take this opportunity to cross that out, that 90-day goal, and go bigger with it. Because it doesn't cost you anything. The only thing that you're risking by going bigger is that you might hurt your ego if you don't get there. But I would way rather you 5x the goal, not hit it, and become a better version of yourself through the actions that you need to take to get there. Make sense? Okay. And one other wonderful woo-woo note, I'll say this with a little story. One of my clients wants to have her first $1 million year in 2024. She was like $850K or something in 2023. And so in January, she hit 87,000. So she's on pace. February, she set the goal for 90,000. She likes to set monthly targets. And her pattern is that when things aren't going as planned, she gets frantic and creates chaos and tries to get her hands in everything. So her salesperson is about to lose a sale. She jumps in there and closes it for them. Okay? Her setter, she jumps in and does the voice notes even though she pays a setter. She jumps in and coaches her clients even though she pays 4 coaches to coach her clients. And then her energy is spent on everyone else's stuff and she can't be the leader and be the boss of the business. So February 20th, I think it was, she was not on track. She was doing okay, but she was not on track. And this would have been the moment where she would dive in and do all the stuff. But we got her focused and we kept her doing the things that she needed to do and staying in the best energy. Okay, she allowed her salesperson to do their job, her setters, her coaches, and they kept inching towards the goal. February 27th rolls around, so there's 2 days left, and they're at 75K, which means likely with their numbers, they're probably not going to hit the 90K. She sends me a voice note. She's basically yelling into the phone and says, Gav, you're not going to believe this. I was like, try me. You're not going to believe this. Stripe had been holding $25,000 of her money from last year that she forgot about, and they dropped it into her account on February 27th. Put her at 100K. They had 2 other great days. They hit 108,000 in February. And I was so excited. I was listening to her voice note. I was so excited to voice note her back and just say, now she's a woman of faith, and just say, God is winking at you so hard right now, going, I got you. When are you going to have faith that I got you? So whatever it is, whatever higher power it is you believe in, let go and let God, outsource to source, whatever it is, you need to get clear on what you want, which we just did. You need to get clear on why you want it, and that needs to be meaningful to you. And then you need to let go of control of the how. Now that seems a little paradoxical because I'm about to talk to you about all the action items you need to take over the next 90 days. But the difference is you are taking action items that you have within your control. So you're going to take the action items, and then no matter what's going on outside of those action items, you're just going to keep taking the next action item. And as Shannon mentioned, right, control what you can, cope with what you can't, and concentrate on what counts. And what counts here is just taking the next right action step. And then outsource to source. Let go and let God. See if Stripe drops 25K into your bank account. I'd be okay with that. So, and one other way to think about this is I'm assuming a lot of you have money goals. Would you be okay if all that money in one shot was dropped into your account on July 30th? Would you accept it? Might be a couple hard months on the way there, but you'd accept it, right? So let go of how it comes to you. Just take the next right action step. So let's talk about how to do that. Craig once said that we talk about a treasure map. So what you've just done with the 90-day outcome goal is you put the X on the treasure map. Okay? But we always know along the path there are some milestones or there's some forks in the road that we need to make a decision, right? So, you know, the palm tree that's split in two, you got to turn right, and this rock here, you got to turn left. So on the sheet in page 9 and 10, there's going to be process goals. Process goal 1, 2, and 3. You don't even need 3, but what are 3 milestones or process goals that you need to hit that are within your control to make sure you hit your outcome goal? So for me on the example, we had just done the productivity cheat codes with Daniel. So schedule productivity cheat codes in my calendar daily to make sure, because if I can get more done, I can make more money. Just like most of you. Book 45 sales calls, right? That is within my control, because if I know I know if I ask for 2 sales calls, I get 1, then I just got to ask for 90 sales calls to book 45 and re-sign 75% of past clients to the back end program, which means I got to make sure that the delivery systems are on point, which is in my control. Does that make sense? That that's within your control? So now we're starting to pull it back from the outcome goal, the big picture thing, to what is within your control. So you should have 1 to 3 milestones or process-based goals that are within your control and are going to give you the best chance to get to where you want to go and are going to set the tone for the action steps that we're going to talk about next. So what milestones are going to help you get there? And then let's start thinking about this. Now, this is the part where you don't have to have this totally finished today. There's going to be more that comes tomorrow, more information that comes at you, probably more things that settle tonight at dinner when you're having conversations with people. So I don't expect this to be the final draft. But what are some action steps? Look, just like I said the woo-woo note about getting clear on the what and the why, we want to take some action steps that are going to show the universe or the higher power that we want this thing, that we're all in on this thing. So what is an action step you can take immediately before you leave this room today? Is there someone you can talk to? Is there someone you can call or text? Is there something you can put into your calendar while you're in this better place and in this excited place? What can you do today? I've been talking to a few of you guys and asking you, have you made money yet off this stuff? Because I know we got some action takers in here. We love it when people make money in the room. So can you do something that's going to lead to you maybe making a little money while you're here? So what is the immediate today action item you can take? What is something you can do in the next 24 hours or tomorrow before you leave the hotel or before you leave here? And notice what we're doing here. You can see on the sheet if you're looking ahead, there's immediate, there's 24, 48, 72 hours, and then we go to weekly action items because we want you to build momentum. Right? If you can get 4 wins by Monday, you're going to be much more likely to accomplish the goal than if you set the goal, keep going on the thing, get on the plane, watch some Netflix, get home, the chaos of life hits you again, and you kind of forget about the goal. Let's get 4 wins and get you moving in the right direction. So what can you do today? What can you do in the next 24 hours? What can you do Saturday before your flight home or on the flight home? And then what can you do first thing Monday? Maybe in your newie work or your most important task. What can you do first thing Monday before the chaos of all the emails and all the phone calls and everybody needing you? That's going to set you on the path and give you a very good chance to hit your goal. See a lot of people writing, so I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes here. Is everybody on track here? Can you guys just put your hands up if you're feeling on track and we're on the path? A lot of you guys are so busy writing, that's okay. If anybody has questions, don't hesitate to ask. Anybody willing to share an action item that they're going to take today in the room? What is something you can do? Alex.
I think we're overstaffed. So I'm going to ask all the leaders in the company where we're overstaffed and who's been underefficient.
Alex thinks they're overstaffed. So he's going to ask all the leaders on his team, where are we at? Where can we be more efficient? That's the guy you need to talk to right there. Okay? About that. Adam.
Yeah, I just texted one of my best friends and told him I need help with accountability on a personal goal and said, I'll share more details, but are you in on...
Just texted his friend, said, I need accountability. I need accountability on my personal goal. I already know I need accountability on my personal goal. Are you in? This is taking action from that better place because we're doing the thing right now. We're in the room. We're excited. Taking action. Anybody else? Anybody in the back? Cool kids. See, they're like, oh no, we're good. So accountability, so reaching out to the team. There are actions you can take right now. Get messy. Yeah, Molly.
Mine is time blocking, getting through some of the setup process for my new hires.
Time blocking to get through the setup process for new hires to make sure that they're onboarded properly and all that. Amazing. Yeah, Galel was saying you got a couple of rock stars that you just brought on. Excellent. Yes, there we go. Look at that. So I would suggest get your calendar. Let's do it. Get that time blocking. Like Craig said, sometimes it's a little messy. Sometimes growth and doing the big scary things is a little messy. I know we don't like messy. We like it to just make sense and all land the way we want it to. This is your opportunity to get messy in the room. Just make it happen. I love it. Okay, and then you'll notice we move to weekly. So bang, 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 4 wins, and then we go to weekly. And this is going to create what we call a 30-day sprint. So we're doing 3 30-day sprints within 90 days. And I'll talk to you more about how those work and how that gives us the feedback so that we can make sure we succeed. So what needs to happen by next Friday for you to give yourself the best chance to hit your goal? What needs to happen by the Friday after? So the 10th, the 17th, the 24th, and the 31st of May. So it might be certain things that have to happen every week that you can just repeat. Or maybe there's some checkpoints that need to happen. So here we had like outreach targets, sales call targets, finishing work by a certain time with the priority set based on some productivity codes. So what needs to happen each week? I'm going to move forward because the next stuff I really want you guys to take in. So some logistics, okay? I said to Molly, put it in your calendar now. If you've got some action items, put them in your calendar because you know what's going to happen when you get home. Go back to that environment. You're not here anymore. Everything goes up in the air. But if it's in the calendar, it pops up, you give yourself a better chance to take that action. So put it in the calendar. And then also add a calendar event. So May 31st, I believe, is a Friday. I like to do it on a Saturday morning because it's a little quieter. Put a calendar event to check in on your progress. Okay, and reset your action items, which is what I mean by these 30-day sprints. Okay? What this looks like, Adam asked a great question, I think it was either in September or January about this, and this is what I do with my clients. So, where am I on the path to my 90-day goal? And you can literally put this in your calendar event to check in. Where am I at? Am I a green light, like I'm definitely going to hit the goal and I just need to keep going what I'm doing, and maybe I need to even increase the goal? Yellow light is I'm on the path, but I need to up the ante a little bit. I maybe need to take some bigger action items or I need to make some tweaks. And a red is like I am not on the path. I'm struggling. I need to change the goal. I need to definitely change my action items. Because remember, you're not married to this. You make the rules, you're the referee, and you're playing the game. That's the most fun part. And it's all a game, and the rules don't matter. So that's what life is. Quick life lesson for you. The key here is that we're going to use the feedback from the last 30 days. Why would you not use the feedback from the last 30 days? Jody, for example, set a 30-day sprint goal before she came here, and it was a big goal. She had said to you guys in her presentation, she needs to make double the money in half the working time, so she set a big goal. And the biggest thing she said, it didn't matter if she hit it or not, she learned a ton. When you set a big goal and you're very intentional about what you're doing, you're going to learn a lot. Let's use those lessons to push you into the next 30 days. Reset the action items. Maybe you just do more of what you were doing, but the key is that you're using the last 30 days to decide on what to do in the next 30 days. So I encourage you to put that in your calendar right now for around the end of May to set the action items for June. And then you do the same thing at the end of June after you hit it hard in June. Now if we flip back to page 7, or actually it's at the bottom here at page 9 and 10, making sure that you're going to do it. So a lot of you guys get real excited in here, and then something changes when you go home, right? Lonely Entrepreneur Island, and we don't take the actions that we said we were going to take. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you're going to take all of these actions over the next month? How confident are you? And if it's not a 10, what would make it a 10, and what accountability do you need? As Adam said, he knows he needs accountability, so he already texted his accountability buddy. It's one of my favorite words. Find yourself an accountability buddy. And then if you have a team, who does what by when, right? Alex is involving his team in these decisions. Who needs to do what by when? To make sure that all these action items can happen in the next 30 days. Because if we think they're going to give us the best chance at success, and we put them on the sheet, and in 30 days we didn't do them, the only thing that we know in 30 days is that not doing them doesn't work. And that's not a very helpful piece of feedback. Okay, and then making sure that it's the right stuff. So it's great to do the action items, but what if it's not the right stuff that you wrote down? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that this is the right stuff to get you where you want to go? And if it's not a 10, what would make it a 10? Do you need to talk to someone in the room? Do you need to book a call with your coach? Do you need to pull one of the coaches aside at lunch or at dinner or at breakfast to make sure it's the right stuff? You need to make sure that you talk to someone during the implementation power hour tomorrow. Because we don't want to leave here going, I'm not really sure if it's the right stuff. We don't want to waste time doing that. Let's make sure it's going to give us the best chance to get where we want to go. Cool? Yeah, Andy.
I wasn't going to ask this, but in light of what you're saying, like the money goal things has worked for a while, but I felt like recently it just doesn't hold the same, like I just don't care about it as much, if that makes sense.
Yep.
But maybe some inspiration from other people who are in the room who use maybe different goals that help, because money is the thing that you always want, but
It's a good scoreboard, right? For us athletes in the room. It's a great scoreboard up there.
maybe like other people who don't necessarily use those like straight money goals, like I want to make this in the month.
Yeah.
What do other people use?
So we can have other people share, but the biggest thing for me when it comes to money goals and when it comes to like it's not really getting you fired up anymore, I would encourage you to look at what is the trade-off you're not willing to make anymore for money? And is there a belief that you might have to make a certain trade-off that you don't want to make anymore? So I say this from my own experience because the one thing that I've found, I mean, I've got a kid on the way, and the one thing that I've found is I'm not willing to burn myself out just to make more money anymore. So for me, there's this interesting thing that needs to happen if I have a money goal, is it needs to be, I will make this much money without this thing, without overworking. And that's just asking yourself a better question. Instead of how can I make $100,000, how can I make $100,000 without working more than another hour a week? That's a way better question. So that's one thing that I would consider, Andy. And then the other thing is like, now that you're making more money and you're hitting the money goals, what other problems are you coming up against that need to be taken care of to clear the way for more money to come in without bottlenecks and problems? That because your subconscious brain is a no bullshit kind of thing. It can already see what's going to happen ahead of the game. It's like, doesn't matter what you want consciously. It's like, no, you don't want that. Does that make sense?
100%, yeah, because actually it's a good point because I just got super sick in Mexico recently and I was like, fuck, I'm too busy for this now. And so it's a good point because then as you were talking, I was thinking, okay, I know exactly what goal I need to look now.
Magic. There you go. A little bit of magic. Does that make sense to everybody? If you've got a money goal, and this is where it's a good opportunity for you to look at some stories that you might have. If you are worried that making more money is going to overwhelm you, make sure you ask yourself a better question or set a better goal. Again, we want to get really specific on the goals. So it's, I'll make this much money without this thing. And then our brain starts doing the work to solve for that problem, not just the money problem. Because like any one of us in this room could just go 24 hours a day, gas pedal down, no brakes, and make the money. But there's some trade-off. There's some point where we're not willing to make the trade-off anymore. That's why we're here. That's why we come to these events that Craig puts on when you could go to the rah-rah events that are just like, go do the thing. It's like, yeah, but not with all this stuff. Okay, is that helpful for you guys? Yeah, any other questions on that? Cool. So how do we guarantee success? I told you on the first slide I was going to guarantee success. Well, doing the visualization you just did already is giving you a better opportunity for success. So I'm just going to come to this side because Kat's over there and I want her to get my good side. So put this somewhere you can see it every day, the Frank Den Blanken rule. So many of you, when I do the check-in in 30 days, I know you guys that get on the group call with me know I'm going to do the check-in at the end of May. And you still go, oh, I don't really remember what my goal was. And you're like leafing through papers. I can see it on the Zoom screen. You're like leafing through papers to try and find it. It should be right in front of your face all the time. Reminder, 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 reminder. Okay? Actively read and visualize the entire sheet, this entire sheet, every week at minimum. Visualize success. Okay? Remember, your brain can't tell the difference between a real event and an imagined event. So the more that you imagine the event in your head, the more likely it is to happen. And your brain is going to start solving problems for you. Especially if it's something that you've never done before, that's a little bit scary, that you don't have a clear blueprint for. We need our subconscious brain to start connecting some dots that it hasn't before, and then rinse and repeat every 30 days. Get the feedback and go again. And this is absolutely 100% my favorite quote from Alex Hormozi. And it's something that I want to leave you with here. Again, we're obviously going to come back to this tomorrow, but you measure your success by whether you completed the actions that would make it unreasonable to fail. And then you succeed by default. Those of you taking a picture, just make sure I'm in the picture as well. We just went through for 30 minutes plus going, this is what I want. These are the actions that are most likely to get me there. This is the accountability I need to make sure that I take those actions. Now all you need to do is just focus on taking the next action step. Stop trying to control how it comes to you and take the next action step on the sheet. If you just keep taking the action steps on the sheet, you will succeed by default because there's no other option. We've already done the work in here to make sure those are the right action steps that will make it unreasonable for you to fail. Molly, yes?
Can we get the 90-day blueprint in a PDF format? I think I'm literally going to make it my background.
Can we do that, Linda?
I will absolutely be sending everybody hard copies, so yes, you will be able to do that.
Yeah, we'll make it the Daniel Woodrum rule. Make it the background so you see it all the time, right? That's excellent, yes. A fillable one, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there any other questions for me on this right now that are coming up for you guys? You guys feel like you have a solid, rough draft of this going into the rest of the day and into tomorrow? Yes? Awesome. Thank you, guys. Good stuff. We're moving into hot seats, right?
Yes.
Okay, so do you want to move right into them, guys? Yep. Okay, so we're going to move right into hot seats. You guys know who's up, right? Yes. Right into hot seats. Guys, real quick on the hot seats. I know that You know, sometimes it's easy to just kind of like zone out. I guarantee there's going to be something in one of these hot seats that you need to hear. Okay? So pay attention, maybe do a little bit of work, but pay attention to what's going on because some pretty good coaches up here coaching.